Welcome to Podcast This Escape, the podcast where we talk about the escape room that we escaped from in the previous episode of this podcast. Guy and Paul, congratulations, you did it!
Thank you. It feels really good.
It does feel good. I got to say, it felt hard. So then now that we're finished,
it
feels
tough
good.
This is the hardest room of the season.
This is the... I was so relieved when at the start of the episode, Paul was like, I've done a lot of escape rooms. I've done escape rooms with Rose Matafeo in the UK. I've done them here. I was like, oh, good. We need that because it's a tough room. You guys did great. It was a very hard room.
Yeah, it's certainly, I feel like I've just sort of performed some sort of mental exercise. Like I have a very unexercised brain. I'm incredibly simple. And I feel not physically or mentally drained, but certainly like I'm lithe and limber. Like if I went and looked at a Sudoku that I put down a month ago, I reckon I'd probably finish it.
Just straight away. Solve it 1 second.
Oh, nice. Was there any specific puzzle for both of you, either of you separately, that made you feel, oh man, I am smart?
Smart. There was definitely a moment or two where I felt smart, and there was definitely the opposite of that.
I think when Paul put together the initial code with the hangman style dashes on the security pass, I was like,
well done.
I think I would have had to sit by myself for a long time to get to the bottom of that. I was very grateful to be in the company of renowned bad boy Paul Williams.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think you saying hangman style, that really helped because suddenly it was like, oh yeah, it's the letters.
Well, this is the beauty of teamwork,
Teamwork,
right? Is you can stumble into sort of clues or keys that can unlock things that the way that your brain processes information wouldn't necessarily help to.
But yeah, and that's what we talk to all of our guests about, that same idea that so often, like, each individual player will have one half of the puzzle, but not be able to get to the other half necessarily. So as soon as you start saying those things, right, as soon as you say, this kind of looks like hangman, the other person can take that and go, oh my God, wait, if it's hangman, it must be yada, yada, yada. Like, it is really a team effort, these games. And the more you can communicate, the more you can power through these puzzles. And you two really did in a lot of them. It was great.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's incredible, really. I'm not a very visual... My imagination doesn't skew especially visual. Like when I read, I don't necessarily see the rooms or the build. Like I see in soft focus an idea of where we are. But the escape room experience, like I guess because it's immersive in that you're visualizing or imagining what you're moving through, I could really I experienced the variety of rooms that we were moving through in a way that is traditionally quite unusual for me in my imagination.
Oh, lovely.
That's awesome. And yeah, that probably helps having a bunch of small rooms with not too many things to focus on.
Yeah.
Like when you can say, cool, it's got a door, it's got some lights, everything else is just blur. So that might make it a bit easier. Speaking of that first room, I was really impressed with how you came inches away from solving the stairs puzzle without getting the flowchart to help you with the stairs puzzle.
Yeah. That I think it was just, there was one word that kind of looked purple, like
everything
was Werplin.
It's actually a really satisfying word, Werplin. It was, it was presented in a fairly close way, but I guess knowing that we only had that was before we even got to the number one with the alarm and the minimal number of efforts.
But yeah, having one of them that looks like the English word plus made it just that little bit harder to tell that all of them needed to be rearranged.
Yeah. It's like when you pick up a kid's Rubik's Cube and you think, I could do this, but you can't do that. Because when you move one lot of the colours, all of the colours move. Did you guys know that Rubik's Cubes are back in?
Oh, really?
They're like
cool hip trend?
Yeah. All of the... Well, I mean, I don't know a huge number of sort of tweens, but Rubik's Cube culture is sweeping across playgrounds in New Zealand.
Wow.
And it's all about the speed, baby.
I do have one of my tutoring students as a speed cuber.
There you go.
I'm not surprised.
I will say, if I have any memory of being a child in primary school or even high school, I'm assuming that means that within a month, Rubik's Cubes will be banned because, if you spin it too fast, you could put a kid's eye out. Kids are having fun with a toy. We can't have that.
My high school had Rubik's Cube contests.
It seems like an
I
incredibly
did not partake.
wholesome and practical fad.
Mm.
When did you feel like we were at our worst, Paul?
I mean, I struggled with the creaky boards, I think.
Yeah, we took ages on the first to
Yeah.
even discover that was the pattern. We were just in a room for a long time listening to the wind
Yeah.
without marrying
It
it
is
to
a
what
very-
the wind represented.
It is a really tough one. And I think like the structure of it is like the first one is a big hurdle to overcome because as a puzzle, it's very, very simple. It's like there are 4 things and one of them isn't going. But what is really difficult is like learning that that's what the puzzle is. Like it's just a certain amount of time until you peg onto like, that is what the air or that creaking sound could be representing. And that whole first section is just to try and have you learn that. It's just there to teach like, hey, the creaks are bad and there is an order to them. Like it's like a rhythm. And then the real puzzle is the second part. But the first part takes longer. It's harder because it's there to teach you what the rules are.
Because you've experienced you've done these same rooms, right, Bill, as an exercise.
Mm-hmm.
How did you fare? Because you'd be flying solo. You'd just be sitting there thinking, I wish it would stop creaking.
Well, I am
This was actually
almost
interesting.
exclusively doing these rooms by myself when playtesting them. But we actually had one of our Patreon donors, who's at the highest tier of our Patreon, came on to do the playtest with me. So we did it together.
Oh, wow.
So it was
But
nice,
yeah,
and I
this
think I probably needed
This
it.
one went through a lot of workshopping.
It was tough because I had the same issue. Like I spent so long being like, what are these creaks? Why are they creaking? Like I didn't think it was going to be the solution. But once you get it, it's like I really like that feeling of once I've found it, I then apply it again.
You got the second part really quite quickly.
And I think
after that.
as did you two, like find like when you like you ask the questions in exactly the right way with that second part of like, well, why are we hearing that many things when there's only 5 of them? We should be hearing 1 each, or maybe there's enough. Oh, look, there are 2 gaps. Maybe we're hearing 2 each. Oh, now we can break it up into 1 2 1 2 1 2
you
1
did break
2.
that up nicely.
Like so, you guys did that in exactly the right way. So I think once you get to the second part of that puzzle, it's quite satisfying. The first one is such a hard leap to make. It requires you to just make a leap.
And then one of the things that happened in the playtest was both playtesters said, it really feels like there should be a third part to this puzzle.
Yeah, but that does not work.
I'm just
we
going
settled
back,
on, yep, all right, a third troll part.
Yeah,
just going through the notes. It really gives me a glimpse into how Moorish this kind of thinking and solving is. It's a very enjoyable sort of problem solving or escapism whereby you're using your brain. Like it's kind of my dream of using my brain but for nothing of value, whereas usually I'm just not using my brain.
Yes.
I don't like to contribute to anything of value, but I do like to use my brain, and it's very difficult to find things that meet those very specific desires.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like escape rooms are very much for you.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
That nice feeling. But honestly, like you were saying at the start, it feels like exercise. It feels like you get to like play, like just like, oh, I'm not. It's no crazy stakes, but I get to just like work out these parts of my brain that I don't usually use day to day. You know,
that feeling of cracking something that'll never get old.
yeah.
When you have that breakthrough, unreal.
Yeah, it's like the reason society has developed to the extent that it has is because that is an enjoyable feeling. Solving a puzzle, and your brain goes, "Yes, good work. Here you go. Have some endorphins. You did it." It doesn't know that you're solving an irrelevant puzzle. It thinks you're trying to find a new way to survive. But it's still very excited for you.
I'm really I'm sort of excited and interested to see what lies ahead for Alice.
Yes.
I was going to say one thing we should go on to is
story.
what happens next.
Yeah, because there are 2 more episodes.
Yeah, so Truman Show, he finishes on a boat and then he walks out. How do you think that's going to go from here? You're on the boat.
Oh, I know. There's so much ocean because in reality, it's Waterworld. And we're going to change movies to Waterworld. And you're just going to be out on the ocean. And then you're going to find out Leilani has gills. And it's a whole big thing.
Does that happen in Waterworld?
Yeah, someone's got gills.
Oh my God.
Does that mean that
Kevin Costner?
you guys are going to get Kevin Costner in?
Oh, yeah, he's the next guest. We're going to get him back-to-back episodes.
That'd be huge. I feel
It's
like
a big
there's because when you're doing it, it feels I have no gauge on how many more rooms we have to solve to get through the episode. So it feels like it could run forever. I mean, I don't know how you're going to resolve this much. I guess if you look back to the very start of the series, Alice has come a long way. But what lies ahead? I mean, the outside world is an entirely different sort of kettle of fish, really, isn't it? I guess you've got to imagine that people aren't satisfied by the fact that Alice has escaped. There's going to be people behind. You're going to be having to close doors behind you in some of the upcoming rooms, perhaps.
Oh, could you do like I wonder if there'll be, because I don't know what's happening. Danny does, so Danny has to be sneakily quiet. What if there was like a Home Alone style room? It's like you finally, you settle down, but the producers are back to get you. They kind of get you back in, and they're trying to come in through the wall. You got to solve a puzzle so you can electrify the doorknob. and then they'll go.
Well, there's there's a big bowl of marbles on the.
Yes.
It's
you need the
it's like a
bounciest
reverse
marbles, and there's a
escape
logic puzzle where like green marbles will bounce less than blue marbles, but blue marbles will only bounce if they have a cat's eye. And you're like, oh my God, I got to get the bounciest marbles for this trap.
Yeah,
You're right. I really want to partake in this conversation, but I can't.
You'll ruin it for all of our listening audience.
2 more episodes.
It's got to be.
I'm seeing a lighthouse. I'm seeing like they're gonna boat along, and there's gonna be some sort of creepy lighthouse.
Do you think they're going to need to turn the light on or turn the light off?
Probably turn it on because you got a signal for some sort of vessel to come, and that's like the actual because you're not gonna you can only row so far.
Row to freedom.
So you need a larger means of transport to actually
to get
yourself from the set.
Yeah. To get to Fiji is where I think he's trying to get in the Truman Show.
Yeah, we get through Waterworld into Castaway.
Yeah. Yeah,
yes.
We're going through all the movies.
Episode 9, Waterworld. Episode 10, Castaway. That's it. Series done. I also wonder, there's also like the sneaking suspicion in my head that like Leilani's going to rescue you. Leilani's going to take you to shore and say, oh, we finally made it to the real world. And then look at you and be like, and how does that make you feel? Did you enjoy the process of that escape? Oh, don't you? And then you're going to look and there's a camera in the corner and you're like, oh my God, this was part of the show. They thought, let's spice things up with a fake escape.
I could not stomach how sinister it would be if Leilani is a part of the whole.
I don't trust her at all, if I'm going to be honest. The way she was pretty hostile when we wanted her to read some words on a chain. And
she's an old lady. It felt like you were mocking her.
Yeah.
Hey, old lady, can you read?
We weren't mocking. I just thought that she would bring a greater sort of sense of urgency and understanding to the fact that we're collaborating on these solves.
She's helped us so much. The fact that she was pretty hesitant to help us there raised some concerns for me.
I hope you're wrong, Paul. I don't want Leilani to be one of the baddies.
If Leilani isn't a baddie, it'll be like the first time we've had a Patreon name in an episode who wasn't a terrible person. So,
wow.
So maybe we'll break the mold. I'm sure we've done it once or twice, had a nice, but they're almost exclusively the villains.
I mean, I don't even think all the people that you've met throughout this season have been particularly evil.
Everyone we've met is evil.
They're just getting paid to do an acting gig.
Yeah, an evil acting
but
gig.
it's what it represents. No job's just a job, Danny.
Yeah. You have to think about the ramifications, the moral ramifications of the work being done. Gosh. Puffed indeed. I really like this room. But I like the way it funnels.
Late in a connected arc, there's always one weirdly designed room.
And this was it. This was the weird room.
You got the one that was multiple rooms, weird little things, half of it completely in the dark. Yeah, you guys got the strange and therefore really hard one.
It was. I loved that it was all going in one direction. Like there was, because sometimes in an escape room, you're doing things, you're finding things in the wrong order, but this one, like everything was kind of ordered. We ultimately did have to go back to go forward, but I really enjoyed that there was not too much confusion over whether we were heading the right way, because it was like there was only kind of one way to go.
That's incredibly true.
Yeah.
It would be very stressful to be arguing over whether to go left or right.
Yes.
To then have a huge number of puzzles in both directions.
Yes.
And there was a thing that you said earlier, Guy, which I think is interesting in the design of this room, which is like, although I think you were talking about the whole arc, but I felt it, I don't know if you guys felt it with this individual room, of like, there's no understanding of like how much more there's going to be necessarily in this room, because it's like in some rooms you get a goal. You see like, this is my goal that I can see it. It's over there. And I am going to keep solving puzzles to get me closer to that, but I can see the end point. Whereas this one was less of like a specific goal and
Your
more
goal
just a
was
direction.
Keep going.
It was just keep going forward until you get out. And so like it was different. Like if you think back to like the wedding episode where it was, we know there are fireworks that need to go off and we can see the fireworks from the first moment of the room. We can see where they are. And so we keep doing things and going around in different directions and spreading out because we know it's going to funnel down to that one moment. Whereas this doesn't have that. This is just a series of immediate goals of open the next door, like your Maxwell Smart going down a hallway. Just door, and see, and just keep going until the hallway ends. So, I don't know, it's structurally kind of different.
It was, and it's sort of just because it's so much of a story-based one, your goal is get to the end because friend is there.
Yeah.
They're at the end of the tunnel.
But yeah, as a standalone one, just keep moving forward is a bit of a nebulous goal.
Yeah. And I suppose did you struggle, Danny, when you were writing it to think like, oh, do I need to like make each door like more certain that like, did you try and write around that feeling of like, I want to make sure they see they're making tangible progress? Sure.
Like I worried about it. Did I go out of my way to fix it? Not particularly.
All right, good. I'm glad I brought it up.
But I was happy to be able to have that window there to make you feel like you had progressed to a new part that you had seen earlier. That
is nice.
That was the one thing that I cared about. Having
the
a
window
loop somewhere,
the window
sort of.
did represent respite. Even like having, just acknowledgements through the tunnels that the outside world exists. If we'd been in the dark the whole way, even if you constructed the room the same but without external light, it probably would have felt more harrowing and less encouraging.
I don't think there was light coming through that window other than...
Well, I mean, but like, not necessarily light, but like even wind. Just the knowledge that the world is bigger than the tunnels means that you feel as though you're doing something right.
Did you like that it was a sea breeze when the sea was right outside?
Oh, yes. I don't know if there's a sea breeze in the playtest. I can't remember.
No,
but
that
in
didn't
this,
come up
that's nice.
specifically.
It gives you that feeling like you're getting close to the ocean now from the sea breeze. And that, like, that worked out quite well.
I like that because it really gave us an insight into Paul's personal life and how the paint job on his car is eroding because of his constant trips to the sea.
Well, also,
we live right near the beach, and every time, even if the car is in the garage, I need to use the window washers because there's just
covered in salt
crusted on.
Well, my wheel alignment was quite badly out until recently, and one wheel kept getting worn down quite quickly. And the guy recently had a look, and he was like, "Yeah, there's just a lot of sand under, under your wheels or whatever that was like throwing it off."
What are you doing at the beach so much?
Okay.
Well, I'm just parking there, and I think the
donuts
wind is blowing the sand under my car.
Well, you're parking at the beach.
When you say you are parking on the beach, how on the beach are we talking here?
I'm talking across the road. No, I'm not. I'm not driving onto the sand and parking.
Are you
it there.
sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Although kind of a genius move for free parking, but the street is free there as well, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Look, I really liked it. I'm excited to see what happens in the next two episodes. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next two episodes. But no, it was great fun. Do we think there's anything else to talk about in this post-show episode?
I am out of things to say.
Do you guys have any other cool questions or comments?
No, I'm largely out of things as well. I'd just like to say, thanks to Paul for asking me to do this, because Paul is a competitive escape roomer. He knows he's coming on an escape room that is going to be broadcast to the public, and he asked a dunce like me.
It was it was purely because they asked if I could get my brother Guy, and he's sadly unavailable, and so I just thought
Unavailable due to prior engagements, or unavailable due to your working relationship with Guy?
well, he was unavailable via me knowing that he would annoy me too much during the escape room. And so I thought, they said, would Guy be keen? And I was like, yeah, I'll get Guy. And I got a different guy.
And that's a great example of the sort of lateral thinking you brought to the escape room itself.
Yes.
That's some Taskmaster thinking. The task says Guy, but it doesn't specify which guy.
Yes,
so I can go and just get any guy.
I found a loophole, and I went with it.
Oh.
Well, I am very glad. It was a very good loophole to find, because the two of you were so enjoyable to have on together.
It was a pleasure.
You worked very well. It was lovely to be able to meet both of you. It was great.
Yeah, both enormous Taskmaster fans, and I have been loving listening through Worst Idea of All Time, because I had a lot of strong feelings about Sex and the City too, so it's been a really good experience to hear you talk about it a lot.
Oh yeah, you and me both. I every day I like to think I've washed my hands of that movie, but I live in constant fear of Tim and our audience, and what hell they can wreak on my life. So I appreciate that greatly. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's
it was lovely.
It's like so much work must go into that, and it was really fun. So thanks heaps.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. Now, if our audience wants to find more of you, we've talked about a lot of the stuff you do, but where can they find you on the internet, on social media, on other projects you're doing?
Well, you can find me I use social media, even though I try not to. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Guy_Mont. And, in spite of my pretty weak plug for my own social media there, I'm actually dynamite on both platforms. I'm a real joy to follow.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I guess I'm also on social media. Paul Williams is my Instagram handle, and I wasn't as lucky on Twitter. Paul Williams _12 is the Twitter.
It's significally less lucky.
It's a lot worse. But
not only were the first 12 Paul Williamses taken, but also the first 11 numbers without you had to introduce an underscore. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great. But I am on there. I don't tweet much, so I don't really know why I'm plugging it.
You tweet pure jokes, though. You tweet some great jokes.
Yeah, there's not a lot of admin going on there, just the odd occasional joke. But apart from that, Taskmaster Season 2 coming
I'm very
soon.
excited.
Yeah, do we know when that's around? Ooh,
Sorry?
Excellent. That's not bad.
Yeah, I think it's quite soon.
Awesome.
I'm not sure exactly. June was a guess, and I'm not great with dates, so might be July.
Taskmaster 2 coming June 2014.
Yeah.
And also, if you're listening in New Zealand right now, we're in the middle of the New Zealand International Comedy Festival, in which both Paul and I have shows. So if you want to see us not do escape rooms live, the option is available.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. For people who want to find more of us, I mean, you found us already. You're listening to the show. But we're on Twitter at Ask This Podcast, and Instagram is Escape This Podcast. You can. We also have some other shows that we do. If you want to check out Solve This Murder, where I solve murder mysteries that Danny creates, or Play This Game Live, which is our Twitch channel. You can find links to all of those at our big kind of umbrella website, consumethismedia.com. We also, if you want to support the show on Patreon, we have bonus episodes. We talk a little bit about the playtest in these last couple episodes, you can listen to that playtest if you're a $5 donor, as well as other 2-minute mysteries that we do and little other bonus puzzle things there. And also, anybody who donates has a chance to appear as an NPC in one of Danny's rooms, like Leilani K in this episode and Mark Wasserman.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you for donating. I hope you enjoyed the characters you were, and that Leilani turns out to be a lovely person. Whereas Mark Wasserman, well, he's a certified bad boy. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you again, Paul and Guy, for coming on and joining us. Bye, everybody.